Good morning. How are you? Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to Unity Village for having me again. It's always beautiful and a wonderful experience to be back here, especially if you walk around the lower parts of the buildings, that little labyrinth underneath. That's a lot of fun. It's fun to run around there. I enjoy it. The making of a master. I'm going to combine that with something that was said earlier today in this service about balance as part of the prayer. My father always taught me this lesson that love is the perfect balance between generosity and gratitude. That gratitude we feel and experience knowing that we are alive, that when I take in the breath of air that fills my lungs, that oxygen takes it to every part of my body, through my blood, into every cell, and then to every organ, allowing me to live. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the experience of my breath, that every tree, every leaf of grass, every flower, every plant, every living organism that is the flora allows me to live through this breath with this oxygen. And I am so grateful that I decide to give with generosity and I exhale, giving life to all those living beings that is a tree, of a plant, of a flower. The breath of the flora gives life to the fauna, and the breath of the fauna gives life to the flora. We are one. And we experience that experience of unconditional love with every breath we take. Which means every moment of our life, we're experiencing unconditional love. Because we're experiencing the most beautiful expression of that unconditional love, which is the breath that gives another organism life. And the breath of that organism gives us life. Hence we are one. Amen. And all we have to do to experience that unconditional love is to experience that breath. A teacher once taught me this beautiful lesson. The key to enlightenment is effort. That's it. That's the key to enlightenment. Effort. And in my experience, effort is using the energy that animates this body, that animates this mind, to manifest something. We can call it spirit, we can call it soul, we can call it intent, we can call it life, we can call it God. Whatever your tradition, that's what we are. That's what we call it. In my tradition, we call it the Nahual, which is expressed in order for an object to move, there needs to be a force that moves that object. Effort is using the energy that animates this body, that animates this mind, to manifest anything in life. That is effort. So the key to enlightenment is effort. Discipline is remembering to apply that effort every day. Success is following through in that effort. Love is the perfect balance between generosity and gratitude. And the effort we put into that is that love that we create. That's what makes us the master of our unconditional love. The willingness to see life as is, the willingness to see ourselves as we are, and the willingness to see our place in all creation as we are one. At this very moment, I am the sum of every decision that I've ever made. Every yes and every no has led me to this moment in time. And this is who I am. And at the same time, I'm the youngest I will ever be. I have my whole life ahead of me. And the beautiful thing about that is because at this very moment, I can go in any direction in life. I am that infinite possibility because I am alive. It's so easy to see the infinite possibility when you hold a newborn baby in our arms. When I saw my son and my daughter, when they were born, I look into their eyes and I can see all these things that they could be. A doctor, a lawyer, an activist, a minister, a soccer player for Kansas City FC. They could become a doctor. They could become any of these things because I'm looking into the eyes of someone who have their whole life ahead of them. That's why it's so easy to see that infinite possibility in a newborn. The difference between us and that baby that our parents held ever so long ago, besides the fact that we grew up, is that we've learned to use this body. We've learned to use this mind. But we're still that infinite possibility because we're still alive and we have our whole life ahead of us. How do we want to live it? How do we want to create it? What do we want to manifest with that? And that is the beautiful thing. Nobody else gets to answer that but ourselves. And since we are part of a community, we as a community can create that as well. Do we want to create the most perfect nightmare? Or do we want to heal that and create the most harmonious dream? That is the opportunity we have. In making the master, we simply put into practice that which we've learned. Right now, we listened to the most beautiful music. The result of years of practice. The result that one day they picked up the instrument and they didn't know what to do with that. They just loved hearing the sounds that came from that instrument. And little by little, with practice, they learned to play it. And got so good that at one point they decided to play with other people. And they learned to play in harmony. And the result is that a beautiful communion we just experienced in listening to the sounds of people expressing their love together, taking us in so many places, seeing the wonder that is to share their heart, to see the beauty of a singer who has that little device that allows her to see. With or without that device, you can hear her heart. She is the master of her voice. She is the master of her heart. Just like you are the masters of your own voice, of your own heart. Today you are the youngest you will ever be. And we will use everything we've learned up until this day to create as an instrument that allows us to navigate this world. I run marathons and half marathons. 5 years ago, when I first started to run, I could barely run a mile. It was the hardest thing to do. I was recovering from a sciatic nerve damage to my lower back, and my legs were numb, so when I ran, I couldn't feel my feet below my knee. But I still continued. And then one day, I crossed 5 miles. And I was so happy to be able to have run 5 miles. One of the things of using our effort to create the dream we want to create is that when we cross a certain threshold, we prove our self-doubt wrong. I love crossing thresholds that my mind said I couldn't cross. And when I cross them, the most beautiful question comes up: what else can I do? What else can I create? Because now I know I can do it. Now I know that, yes, it took me several months to be able to go from 1 mile to 5. What else can I do? 4 years later, I ran my fourth marathon, and I went from running it from 6 hours and 20 minutes to 5 hours and 20 minutes. I shaved off an hour. Do I still feel that pain? Yes. Have I learned to adapt to it? Yes. A lot of physical therapy and acupuncture and yoga and a lot of things that allows me to create what I want to create. And the reason why I do it is because I love doing it. When you run a marathon, you don't run it that one Sunday, you run it for 18 weeks prior. That whole journey, that training allows me for that Sunday to let it all out, to see what I can do. Practice training. Just like the musicians we just heard, they practice and practice so that on this Sunday in front of you, they can let it all out with confidence, with joy, without a single doubt. Do I still get nervous when I come and speak in front of an audience? Yes, I do. I'm sometimes petrified because I always sometimes think I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. And sometimes when you run out of things to say in front of an audience, you're like, But as time progressed, and I've been doing this for 13 years, I have the confidence in myself to just simply open my mouth and start saying what's in my heart. And I use my mind as the instrument that allows me to do that. That harmony is something that allows me to share with everyone what I know. My job, my real job is I'm a father and I'm a husband. I'm moonlighting right now. And the thing about being a parent that nobody ever tells you is that we have no idea what we're doing. We're doing the best with what we've got. And as soon as we get used to being the parent of a 1-year-old, they turn 2. Making everything we knew about parenting irrelevant because the child we are raising no longer likes the same things they do. Now we get used to the terrible 2s. And once we get used to the terrible 2s, they turn into the 4. They turn into 8. Right now, my children are 13 and 11. And everything I knew about parenting, once puberty came in, everything went out the window and I had to start all over again. And it'll happen time and time again. And why do I continue to want to learn how to be a parent? It's because I love my kids. And I have the desire to engage them. And just in the same way I can say that about parenting, I have no idea how to be a husband. I'm doing the best with what I've got. And I've learned from all my mistakes I did when I was a boyfriend to someone. And I've learned and I learned and I got to the point where I realized that what makes me a husband, what makes me a father, is the willingness to engage, to see the person who's in front of me, to see my love, not as my wife, but as Susan, the woman I love. To see my son who has autism beyond the label of autism, and I see my son, Miguel Alejandro. To see my daughter who's 11 and see who she is. As they evolve, I evolve. What makes us the master of being a father, what makes us the master of being a husband or a wife, or a son or a daughter or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or whatever it is that we do, is the willingness to engage. That's what makes us the master of being a musician. That's what makes us the master of being a speaker. The willingness to use the energy that animates this body, that animates this mind, to manifest something beautiful. And as a community, we come together and decide what kind of community we want to create. Someone once asked me earlier this year, is being the master of self mean that you're happy for the rest of your life? And my answer to that person is no. One of the things my grandma used to tell me during my apprenticeship with her and throughout my life was, if you want to make God laugh, tell him or her your plans. Life will always throw a curveball at us. Life will always give us obstacles. Sometimes we become parents of a special needs child. Sometimes we become siblings to someone who is going through an addiction. Sometimes we are the parents of someone who is going through a very rough time. Sometimes we are ourselves going through some difficulty. What makes us the master of self is that we apply all the lessons we've learned as an instrument that allows us to move the story forward. Is putting into applying everything we've learned from these books, from these services, from everything we've learned, and use it to heal. If anything I've ever learned in all my life of doing what I do is this lesson. We heal with our own permission. Which means when life gets tough, we give ourselves the permission to apply everything we've learned to heal this broken heart, to mend this mind, and to heal the relationships that conditional love impacted in such a way. For as long as we are alive, everything is possible, including healing from the wounds that conditional love left in our hearts. But the beautiful thing about realizing that we are alive is that knowing that one day we will leave this body behind. One day I will not be in this body. If I live to be as old as my great-great-grandfather, Don Ezequiel Macias, who lived to be 116 years of age, that means I have 74 years of life left in me. And in December, it'll be 73. The difference between that inanimate object that this body will be and the person that I am now is that I'm alive. I'm alive to dance. I'm alive to engage. I'm alive to use the energy that animates this body to heal this body. I'm alive to use the energy that animates this mind to heal this mind. I'm alive to heal from the wounds that conditional love left in my body and my heart and my being. And when I'm able to do that, I'm able to heal the relationships that conditional love hurt. And that's where the mastery of self comes in. What makes us the master? Life does. And for as long as there is life, everything is possible. Using the teachings of Christ, using the teachings of Krishna, of Buddha, Siddhartha, Muhammad, psychology, psychiatry, Alcoholics Anonymous, and use these instruments to heal. But it always starts with this single step: accepting my truth at this very moment. Like that one day 5 years ago, it was my truth. I could barely run a mile. But as practice came in, I'm able to tell you with complete confidence, at this day, I may not be able to run 26 miles because my body's not yet there, but I can run 16, and that's not half bad. My best changes with every day, and that's where the effort comes in. The key to enlightenment is effort. Let me change that one more bit. The key to life is effort. Using this body, using this mind to create the life we want to live, to create the community we want to live in with our brothers and sisters, to be that kind of father, to be that kind of husband or beloved, it starts with ourselves. Hello, my name is Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., and sometimes I do take things personally. Sometimes I do make assumptions. Sometimes I'm not impeccable with my word. Sometimes I'm not skeptical at all. I buy a hook, line, and sinker. And sometimes I don't do my best. Just ask my wife, she's my witness. It's the moment I stop pretending to be something I am not and accept myself for who I am. And this is me, the sum of every decision that I've ever made. But I make the decision and the choice to heal, to start anew, to create again, to fall down and standing back up. That is the key to all of this. That is the key that allows us to know who we are, and it's also the thing that allows us to have faith in ourselves, to use the teachings we've learned, to use the love that we've shared, to allow us to stand up and cross thresholds our self-doubt says we couldn't cross, and ask ourselves, what else can we do? We are alive. And thank goodness, thank God for this beautiful opportunity that is life. Because I don't live alone. I'm one in 7.5 billion human beings living life at this very moment. And for as long as we are all alive, everything is possible. From creating the most perfect nightmare, which all you have to do is just turn on CNN or whatever, and you can see that. Or we can create the most harmonious dream. At any given moment, like the beautiful song says, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. It starts with me. Or like Michael Jackson says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Na 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 na. The mastery of self is simply that moment where we stop pretending to be something we are not, and we accept ourselves for who we are at this very moment. And who are we? This beautiful living being that has the full potential to create anything we desire to create. As an individual, as a community, as a family, as a member of the human race, as a member of every living thing that exists in this beautiful Mother Earth. How do we want to spend the rest of our lives? The beautiful thing about that question is we get to answer that together in the most harmonious dream. Love is the perfect balance between generosity and gratitude. And I thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you here today. Thank you.